It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. I am your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. With me in the KFG studios, my business partners and fellow CFPs, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
If you're feeling like you're not getting traction in your financial life, or maybe that you're drifting off course, what can you do to get back on the right path? That's the question we're going to be pondering together today. We're going to cover that and more in this hour of Wise Money.
Five things plus one, and you'll understand that here in just a second, that you can do right now, action items that you can take to get back on track financially and increase your kind of motivation, your excitement, your energy, and actually tangibly get on track financially. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us a few different ways. Call or text 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, you can find us at wisemoneyshow.com. Learn more about the show and the firm, and you can leave questions for us there as well. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search The Wise Money Show. It's been said that you shouldn't be working with a financial planner to build a plan, but to adapt the plan. Life is not static. It constantly changes. That's why I've shared before on a soapbox. I hate it when people say a financial plan is like a roadmap. Yeah, a cruel roadmap, because when I'm thinking of a roadmap, and I think Google and Apple Maps even say this now, take a left at Burger King or whatever. No. Like in your financial life or in your real life, stuff never stays the same. It's always changing. So there's in 15 years, you're going to do exactly this. No, your health is going to change. Your goals are going to change. You're a completely different person. Mm-hmm. So it's your plan's going to change. Well, if you're feeling off track financially, maybe at one point you were feeling on track, you were in a groove, you were making progress, and you're feeling off track, you're not alone. It's happened to all of us. I'm going to say at one point or another. There are several valid reasons, either inflation or a job change or a life change, a health change, kids, parents. Oh gosh, when you're in that sandwich generation and you're trying to help, young adults launch, but you're also kind of gripped with helping mom and dad still live, and do the necessities of life and the financial strain that creates. You can feel off track financially. We're going to help you with how you get back on track. But the first is you need to be working with a comprehensive financial planner. Doing comprehensive financial planning with a CFP is the way to get traction in your finances.
Mm-hmm. I have this picture in my mind. One of the worst feelings as a driver, I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, but if you're on a freeway and you miss your exit to take you to the right destination and oh no, I am stuck on this road heading in the wrong direction for at least another, is it 6, 7, 8 miles? Who knows? And you just feel like, I just want to stop and turn around. And that feeling can happen in your financial life also, where you just realize, man, I am pointed in the wrong direction right now. How do I get off this path and back on the right one? The first step is, find that place where you can get the turnaround. And that's what a certified financial planner can do in someone's life. If you feel like you're not going in the right direction, they have the ideas. They know the routes. How do we reroute you here to get you back on track? And so I'm glad that you mentioned that the solution here is a comprehensive financial planning solution. You have to look for those solutions everywhere in your financial life, not just in the obvious places. And hiring someone who this is what they do for a living, they hunt out better paths forward for you. I hope that's the first message that you take away from this show.
All right, that's the show. That's it. Okay, we're done. Because Josh, you're absolutely right. All those analogies, but the only thing I might argue with is sometimes the reasons why you feel off track aren't obvious. You might, but where you're right is you probably think it's because of this or because of that. But there's more underneath the surface. Your financial life is connected, all 6 areas. So it's hard to just point to one thing and say, this is the roadblock. If I fix this, I'm good. Because Kevin, even before we started recording, we were talking about the first one, which we're going to get into, and you said, no, it's that. But there's this underpinning root to that.
Yeah, and I love what you just talked about, Joshua, because we had gone to see Caleb graduate at Quantico, Virginia, and we're headed back to the airport in Washington, D.C., and we were late because the traffic, it's a 37-mile journey, but it took forever, and the traffic was terrible. So not only do you have traffic being terrible, and you're looking at the clock, and you're saying, we got to get the rental car returned. We got to get the shuttle over to the airport and all this stuff. And you're saying, okay, I could miss. So I've got to be precise in getting to the airport. And then you realize you missed your exit. But because there's like 4 different places that you could go, and you think it's telling you to go to this one, and you go. But I would make a difference between a distinction, if you will, between being off track in your finances and feeling out of control.
Interesting.
So, because I do think that is a different, a totally different feeling, and you might be listening and think, well, that would be, the difference between if I'm out of control, it's likely that it's a resource problem and I don't have sufficient resources. Well, I can tell you, we meet with plenty of folks that have beyond abundant resources that feel out of control. Yeah. They're not off track.
Yeah,
they're actually right on track, but the lack of clarity and confidence that they have leads them to feel out of control.
I'm glad you made that distinction, because I wasn't separating the two in my mind, Kevin, and that's helpful. And what we want to help you with right now, and even if you're off track, you're going to get some wisdom here. But if you need to regain control of your financial life, what are 5 things that you need to do? And the plus one we already mentioned, and it's the one that encompasses all the other 5 and any others, and that is working with that CFP to help look at all 6 areas of your financial life and reestablish priorities and reestablish direction. Okay, that's the alpha and the omega. That's where you need to start. But this is not a substitution. What's that? This is not a substitution for comprehensive financial planning. But what are those 5 things that you can be doing to regain control of your financial life? Okay. First, go beyond, I would say start a budget, but I would even argue go beyond a budget and get a 3 bank account system in place. That is the first thing that you need to do to regain control of your financial life. It starts with that blocking and tackling.
And this is where reasonable minds might disagree just a little bit, because I would say for sure you need a budget. But the budget that I would start with, because a lot of times if I'm feeling out of control, I've not allocated sufficient resources towards managing my finances. And the main resource that you need is not money, it's time. So I've got to budget a certain amount of time to work with it could be me. It could be if you are not married, I'd say have a mentor. This mentor could go with you to your financial planner. But if you're married, you need to have sufficient time with your spouse, and your spouse should be going with you to your financial planner. But a lot of times, we meet with lots of folks that have tons of money. They make way more money than they ever thought they would in their lifetime. But that creates a busyness. And they are on kind of this hedonic treadmill where they are running, and that creates some pretty cool chemicals in your brain and feelings of accomplishment and other things. But the feeling of not being in control with all of the money that I've been able to create, that's not a great feeling.
Yeah. So Absolutely. Knowing that it does take time. If you're feeling out of control or that you're not getting traction in your financial life, involvement is the catalyst to that change. And maybe the reason what's caused you to have a lot of resources is, well, you got to work a lot. You've got a lot of time. Your time's being pulled in a lot of different directions. Allocating the right amount of time to focus on your finances and focus on budgeting and get control of your day-to-day, month-to-month cash flow is the priority. We've got more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, every Saturday morning, and also on podcast at the same time as well, but also on a couple local radio stations, which is why the content's broken up the way that it is. There's breaks, and it's long. But for you, we've got additional videos right here on this YouTube channel that take one financial concept, breaking it down, applying it directly to your financial life from a comprehensive financial planning perspective. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're aware every time we drop new content. If you like the content, appreciate it. If I say something incorrect, just correct it right there on the show.
Well,
that one wasn't a correctable one.
No, that was there's too much to that.
Well, what I meant was
I know.
It's the
Yes.
start and the end. Like that's it.
That's right.
We're gonna hit right because
So that doesn't make any sense to me. So that just makes me feel out of control. That's all right.
No. So
We're just off track. Let's go.
We're not off track.
Because we're going to share these 5, but what's the summary of the 5?
Yeah, it starts and ends with financial planning.
That was your
point.
That was my point.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that came across.
And I think it was an excellent point. And I blame Josh for snickering.
but I know, just like we all will,
We need to go back and roll the tape there.
but I know there's going to be times where I will say something and it
Dude,
will
just
be
enjoy
off.
it. No, that adds drama. Right?
I don't know if that one did.
What does it add? Heart palpitations?
No, sometimes your brain is working faster than your mouth. And so if I say the Roth contribution limit this year is $4,000, just fix it.
Yeah. No, we're
That's right.
If it's easily fixable, we will.
Okay.
If we need to take it offline, take it out on a break, we'll do that. I don't feel like we fixed anything there, other than the moral of the story is the
Don't snicker.
and the omega of the story is don't snicker.
Okay.
No. Okay. Here we go.
Good.
All right. So there's more to explain with budgeting.
With number one, yes.
Right.
Let's knock budgeting out of the park.
Got it. To regain control of your financial situation, whether you know I'm going in the wrong direction or I actually don't know what direction I'm going in, I feel directionless. What are the things that you need to do? We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com. And all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. I'm thinking of the reasons why someone could feel, out of control with their finances. Could be inflation. Could be housing affordability. It feels like to purchase a house is very different than what it used to be. What it used to be like. The amount of down payment, the amount of income, those sorts of things. It could be what's going on in the markets. Could be what's going on at work that's leading you to feel this way. The point is, if you are feeling out of control and need to reset your bearings, working with a certified financial planner, they're going to help you by looking at all 6 areas of your financial life, bringing synergy to those.
Yeah, I think, Mike, the idea is that there's an external stimulus required because you're saying, I feel out of control. I'm not sure what to do about it. It may be something that is out of my control. It could be I'm looking at what's going on in the world and I feel out of control. I'm looking at what things cost more. It may be I can't make the ends meet. Whatever it is, and again, you don't have to have a very low income to not make ends meet. You can have lots of money and not make ends meet.
Yeah, sometimes I'm making way more money than I used to, and I'm not sure where it's all going, or I feel like it's not going in an intentional spot. So the first thing that you need to do is have a budget. And we would actually say a budget isn't sufficient. A 3 bank account system is really what you need.
That's right. The 3 bank account system is just a way of structuring literally your bank accounts to support your cash flow game plan. And it allows you to get back to the basics. When life is feeling a little bit out of control, it may be that you just need to focus on the fundamentals. I'm thinking of a high school football game that is just off track at halftime. And sometimes it's just a reminder of we've got to get back to blocking and tackling, guys, right? But just do the fundamental things right. And 3 bank account system it's one of those foundational things in your financial life that can set you up for fantastic results out in the future. And the reason is because you have a game plan first and foremost for those monthly bills that you know are coming around like clockwork all the time. You have a bank account devoted to it. It's your checking account usually. We call it bucket number 1, or your immediate spending account. The money that comes into your hands and it's going to be immediately spent in the same month on its way right back out the door. Most people don't struggle with that part of their financial life, though. The place where more of the hang-ups happen are with the more sporadic or periodic expenses that come around less frequently than once a month. And we have a bank account for that too. It's called the delayed spending account. You might think of this as a savings type of an account where you're stockpiling some cash for stuff you know is coming. It's just not coming every single month. Think Christmas, or think car repairs, think vacation, that sort of thing. Things that you are definitely planning to spend money on. You may even be able to quantify it. You may even be able to place it in the calendar. It's just not every month. But by setting up this second bank account, you're putting a rhythm in place in your financial life to be able to accumulate dollars on a monthly basis. A little bit of your income that comes in each month needs to be squirreled away for these monthly expenses. And then thirdly, the third bank account in this system is for emergencies. It's the emergency spending account. And a lot of people think they've got emergencies, but they really just have delayed spending items that they didn't plan for or they didn't accumulate for. And so an emergency is for the unexpected things, the things that you can't really anticipate, but you know they happen in life to some people. You don't know if you're going to be one that has a major car repair or a major home repair, a disability or a death in the family, whatever. Those major expenses that you're hoping and praying never occur, you still need to have cash set aside for those. And so sometimes when you are feeling off track in your financial life, you just have to get back to these basics and say, I am going to be in control of the cash flow that comes into the family and goes back out, and I'm going to do it by using a 3 bank account system.
Yeah, it goes beyond a budget, because if you're budgeting, hopefully, and you're doing it really well, you're planning on the monthly expenses, monthly income, monthly expenses. What will then throw you off track are these non-monthly expenses like Josh mentioned, and they'll feel like emergencies because they're cash flow emergencies. I didn't save up in advance. Mm-hmm. So a well-executed 3 bank account system, or that delayed spending, saving up in advance for known upcoming expenses, I just can't stress it enough, will help you feel like you are more in control of your finances. And then that third, that emergency fund, I heard this quote recently, the most important part of every plan is planning on the plan not working.
Yeah.
Even if you have been practicing this for a long time, and guys, a 3 bank account system, it's going to take practice. I completely agree with what Kevin said. You have to allocate time to your finances and establishing control. Your 3 bank account system and working that is going to take time.
And here's how you tie it into the budget, though. The budget can't spend every single dollar every single month. You have to have some margin, what we would refer to as goal achievement dollars. If you're going to live off of, say, 85% of what the family brings in, and you have 15% that is money that you can point towards the most important initiatives, the biggest goals, the enhancing your future, that's the money that creates some shock absorbers also in your financial life. There might be a year where you have a crisis or an emergency that exceeds all of your planning, and you may need to dial back some of your long-term savings temporarily. But you have to have that kind of firepower available to go attack your biggest goals. It's what can help put you back on track in your financial life.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, second Second thing, after you establish control of your day-to-day, month-to-month, and sort of bi-monthly or every so often finances, establishing that 3 bank account system, the next thing that maybe you need to do to regain control of your finances is to begin paying down debt. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but when you are spending some of tomorrow's money today, borrowing either for a vehicle or maybe for another big purchase, or you can get a sense of, okay, the debt has really been rising. I'm out of control financially. And so reestablishing, no, we're paying down debt, we're not building debt, that can help you overcome this issue.
You know, you never think about it when you're going into debt, but when you borrow money, you are essentially surrendering control of part of your finances to a lender, right? You are obligating yourself to make monthly payments or some sort of, satisfying this debt obligation out in the future. You're committing future earnings to pay for something that you're going to enjoy today, in other words. And of course, when you're borrowing money for that car or for that college education or that house or whatever, it's because you want to be able to have the use of that tool or that car or whatever. You want the benefits today, and I'll deal with the debt out there in the future. But that is, by definition, giving up control out there in the future. So by reversing it, by wiping out the debt, you are gaining back control over that piece of your monthly cash flow. If you feel like there's just not room to be able to save for your big picture goals and everything, it may be because you don't have choice. You don't have enough options in your financial life. And one way to gain that back is eliminate the other voices, the other hands that are out demanding cash from you on a monthly basis.
You know, Kevin, I thought where you were going to start when we kicked off this topic was feelings lie a lot of times. So if you feel out of control, before you do anything, establish, is that feeling real? Are we sure? And your CFP is going to do that for you. That's why we said you got to start there. But as it comes to paying down debt, and maybe that's this reason, you need to build that net worth statement. And that's why the discipline, the habit of updating that net worth statement every single year so that you can see my assets are growing, but oh yeah, my liabilities are growing as well. That's right. I do, this feeling's real. Or no, I was getting a false sense, right? Mm-hmm. So establishing that net worth, but and then that discipline.
Even that though, Mike, because I started, and I feel like I'm on a little bit of a soapbox, this whole time thing, because I can't know if my feelings are lying to me or not if I don't have contemplative time to consider what I'm feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You can't get the debt under control until that 3 bank account system is built. And so both of these work in tandem. What else do you need to do to reestablish control of your finances? That and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Do we need to go any deeper on that, or can we move on to the third?
I don't think so. You know, I had in there, we could talk about debt snowball or whatever, or really teach net worth. I think we're probably good. Okay, so
I don't know. Teaching what a balance sheet is and why you need one. What we've said you need one, but what is it? Do you have one? That kind of thing.
You know, park there for a second.
Maybe. It's one of the disciplines.
And that it will flow right into the third, which is actually saving.
Well, what happens? But why does a balance sheet matter if I'm feeling out of control?
It makes it objective.
It makes
right?
objective.
Gives you real data.
All of a sudden, I can't feel it anymore.
And
right,
know, so much of
it's real. It's not in the ether. It's real.
And so much of our finances are digital. Like you don't even get paper statements anymore. Right. And so to actually get your arms around everything to see where you're at. Yeah, let's spend a minute there.
I mean, if I've got $2 million in my retirement account, does that feel any different to me than when I had 20 grand in my retirement account? I mean, it might feel a little different, but I mean, does it?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to extend my arms any further to get them around that 2 million than I did the 20,000?
Yeah.
I mean, it is somewhat enigmatic.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go there.
There we go.
Let's go there.
one of the disciplines that you should be working on, well, that your CFP should be doing every single year for you, if not twice a year, does kind of secretly help you feel on top of your finances. And it's an often overlooked or undervalued, underappreciated resource or discipline. We'll explain it right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on podcast wherever you listen. Search the Wise Money Show. Subscribe to it there. Rate the program. We appreciate it. You can share it from there as well. If you're feeling out of control in your finances, maybe directionless, or maybe there's been a change and you just feel like you're not getting any traction, what do you do to reestablish control? Working with the CFP for sure, but building out or having an awareness of your overall net worth or your balance sheet can help you establish that grounding.
That's exactly right. You know, a balance sheet, just like a corporation would know where they stand financially at any given moment, the balance sheet is kind of your financial life on paper. It's a snapshot at a moment in time of what are the things that you own, or sometimes you'll use the phrase, what are you the steward of? What are you managing? What are the assets in your name versus the liabilities or the debts that you owe to other people? And when you add up all of the assets and subtract out all of the debts, you get a bottom line net worth number. And that is a number that if you track that over time, it's not for the purpose of taking pride in here's what my net worth is. This isn't a document where you're like Ebenezer Scrooge trying to always count your money or anything. It is a sign, or it's a place where you can find encouragement that the hard work is paying off, that you're making progress in certain directions. You might see at times where one of your assets, your retirement assets, are growing like crazy, and it's because you're taking some smart risks and you're seeing the compounding effects over time. The opposite could occur as well, where your investments are actually declining, even though you keep contributing. But maybe there's another bright spot in your financial life that you can see objectively. You're watching your debt dwindle down quickly. Every time you make a payment on your debt, you are guaranteed that your balance is shrinking, right? Yeah. And so that is progress that you don't really feel. You don't really notice a difference each time you make your mortgage payment, that the house didn't get, somehow a little bit bigger or a little bit cleaner or a little bit anything. It's the same house, but you own more of it. And to see that financially, to see that progress is really important, because long-term goals, you can encounter some discouragement along the way, and you have to have a discipline and a rhythm for throwing off that discouragement. A balance sheet or something objective is a way to do it.
Yeah. It also, we were talking at the break, it makes your very intangible financial life tangible. Like you've got assets, you've got liabilities, you've got stuff all over the place. And you oftentimes don't even get paper statements anymore. Where can you bring it all together and objectively say, where do I stand? Yep. And doing that just once is helpful. But having a habit of doing that every 6 months or every year so you can compare, well, am I making progress? Man, that is critical. So, all right. Once you've got that 3 bank account system working, you've allocated the right amount of time to working on your finances and establishing control, and you've got that budget built out, that 3 bank account system, you've clearly got your balance sheet laid out, and you're working on paying down debt. The next thing to regain control is to start saving for your future, or maybe be saving the right amount for your financial future. Oftentimes, and Kevin, you said earlier that maybe you are getting traction, but you still feel out of control. Partly, I've seen this because people feel like, well, I'm making a lot of money, I'm just not saving any of it.
Well, it could be that. It could be I'm making a lot of money and I'm saving a lot of it, but it doesn't feel like it's life-changing money. And for a long time, it's not going to feel like, and it will not be life-changing money. Mm-hmm. Wealth is accumulated over a long period of time. And so that's where it can be a little confusing.
I feel like early in my career, one of the greatest gifts, Kevin, that you gave to me was allowing me to kind of come in on some of the clients that you were serving and just observe. And you would share the story of look at what the compounding effects are when someone is just diligent over a long period of time. You know, when you've got clients who are 30 years into their career and never once during that time did they receive a huge inheritance or get some major windfall or anything like that. They were just steadily disciplined in saving regularly. They never turned off the contributions. They just let it keep going. And look what they accumulated. And the fun thing is that at the tail end of someone's career, after years and years of being disciplined, the compounding growth that can occur, where you can see in those final years when the market's cooperating and everything, the level of growth that can happen in 1 year might far exceed their very best years of earning. In other words, they could see more than a year's salary worth of growth just accumulating because their investments are building for them. My question for you is, do you have dollars that you are setting aside in a growth trajectory like that where it can be compounding for you? You don't have to earn every single dollar for the future. You can allow those dollars to earn for you. That can only happen if you are in saving mode. And you can only be in saving mode is if you've created margin in your financial life to be able to do it with.
Hope is an extremely powerful emotion and feeling. And if you have a lot of resources or a lot of income, I should say, and you feel a little out of control, it might be because, well, I've got this today. I'm on that, what'd you call it, the hedonic treadmill? Like things are working today, but I'm not very hopeful financially that things will stay this way, that I'll be able to keep up with this for the long term. And maybe you're in an industry that has made headlines for boom and bust. And maybe right now you're feeling, yeah, my income was a lot higher. I'm on commission. I'm making way below what I used to make. And you've lost some of that hope. Saving up for your future and establishing that discipline, like Josh said, during the good times and bad time, that can help you feel like, no, I've got control of things. Even though my income's going up and down, even though my industry is like cyclical, I'm still saving for my financial future, and therefore I've got hope and feel like I'm in control of my finances.
Yeah, and it is a little confusing because when this hedonic, hedonism, pleasure seeking, this treadmill that I'm on, I am running harder than I've ever run, and I'm getting greater results than I've ever gotten. And so the reward system, the dopamine, epinephrine, all the stuff in my brain is saying, yes, 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 more, more, more. And our brains are a little tricky because they confuse us that the accumulation of more stuff means that we will accumulate more happiness. And that isn't always the case. So you say, wait a minute, I've never felt more chemical sensations in my brain because of what I'm achieving because I'm on this hedonic treadmill. But I do feel like I'm lacking clarity, confidence. I might feel a little out of control. And this is where having someone to walk down this path with you, because the other thing is, and I think we talked a little bit about this, but if that's your situation, there might not be anyone in your life that you can even talk to about that.
I was just going to go there, Kevin. So The Psychology of Money, fantastic book by Morgan Housel, I think is how you pronounce his name. Did a video on the Wise Money show. Go check it out. So a few months ago, where I was breaking down the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And you might say, oh, that's there's no difference. No, oftentimes rich is what you can see. Someone's got a fancy car or someone's got a big house and they've got income to support that at the moment. But wealth is what you can't see. It's the money earned but not spent. Oftentimes people think when they say, I want to be a millionaire, is they want to spend $1 million. But that's the opposite of being a millionaire, is spending a lot of money. Building wealth, the only way to be wealthy is to not spend the money that you do have, and that is to save it up, and that is hidden. You can't see that. Your friend, your colleague, your whatever, you can't see. Your folks even. You can't see the money that they earned but didn't spend. The ones that they spent, you can see it in the 3-stall garage and the big house, those sorts of things. but that's maybe evidence of rich, maybe even at a moment, not wealth. The secret to having control of your finances, or one of them, is to save up, is to earn that money, but not spend it. All right, we've got other things. We've got more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Other things. That's a good one.
Dude,
Is that helpful?
We have other
Thumbs
things.
up. We got other things.
Yeah,
Going on.
we had those things, and now we got some other things. But, dude, your intro in the last segment, you were at 1.5 speed.
I know.
So you did the intro at 1.5, and then you got to the meat of it, and you slowed down to 1. As interesting.
I like to keep everyone on their toes.
I felt like I was
I think that reference to
living in a YouTube video.
Yeah,
So what segment are we going into?
I've lost fourth.
Fourth segment.
Dang.
Land of the plane.
Land that plane. And what do we need to cover still?
Fifth.
Yep.
Tax planning and 5-factor. Whoa, we left some meat on the bone here.
Well, you want to know a way to, if you said, hey, I'm feeling in control, I want to experience the feeling of being out of control with my finances, get a big whopping tax surprise. That will make you feel out of control.
And that's part of the context here. So, yeah, but we need to be conscious of our time here. So, fourth and fifth here, final segment. Here we go. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show, as well as a lot of other content, is on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Go check it out. Go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show. Even had a video about the difference between being rich and being wealthy, and what that means for you, and how you can apply it to become, well, let's say, more wealthy and build more wealth in your financial life. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there. Turn on notifications so you're made aware every time we drop new content, and you can share it as well. We appreciate it. We're talking about the steps that you can take, that you need to take to reestablish control, regain control in your financial life. Fourth one is having a plan for your taxes. There's sort of two ways, Kevin, you just said this, two ways that taxes can cause you to feel out of control. And one is a big tax surprise. And the other is, again, feeling like you're on that treadmill where I keep making money. And my goodness, I always feel behind with my taxes. Every single time I feel like I'm making money, I feel like I'm owing even more in taxes. I feel like I cannot get ahead. The route to both of those, or the solution, is to be doing proactive tax planning work.
Yeah, we often talk about proactive tax planning as an annual rhythm that you're in each year, breaking it down 1 year at a time and thinking, what is my income going to be this year? What are the things that I can do to reduce the amount that I pay in taxes, not just this year, but out into the future? And when you string together multiple years and you expand your thinking, look further out, maybe even think from a lifetime standpoint, how do I reduce the amount of money that kind of slips through the cracks, the amount of bleeding in the form of taxes? Because every dollar that you spend on taxes, unfortunately, is a dollar that you give up control over as soon as it leaves your hands. And it's a dollar that could have been used, if it stayed in your hands, to help advance the goals and the priorities that are most important to you. And so in my mind, when I think about tax planning, I think of it as a lifelong pursuit to reduce the amount of taxes. Give yourself the most options. Isn't that what financial planning is all about? I love my brother-in-law is always saying, when he thinks about the future, when he thinks about retirement, Josh, I just want to have options. Mm-hmm. He says that a lot. And that is what you want. When you have more options, you have flexibility when life throws you a curveball. When you have more options, you have more choice to be proactive and to do the things that you want to do. And one of the ways that you can create more options for yourself is by being diversified in the way that you are saving for your long-term goals. Having some money that is in tax-deferred vehicles like a traditional IRA or a 401k. Having some money that's in tax-free vehicles like a Roth IRA or an HSA. maybe even having some dollars that aren't in tax shelters, but they're just invested with a tax-sensitive approach. The point here is that you create for yourselves multiple ways to respond to whatever life throws at you when you're being proactive with your tax planning.
Yeah, it's funny. Right as you're saying that, there's a weird, this one's a little unique, and that in order to kind of feel like you're in control of the taxes you're paying, as weird as that sounds, it takes some forethought, right? Because you can be in retirement and be like, well, every time I've got to pull money out, I got to pay Uncle Sam. So if I need 10 grand, I've got to pull out 14 or whatever the math is for you. And that can make you feel like, well, I'm losing wealth quickly. Mm-hmm. And the way to overcome that is to have that tax diversification and to intentionally build that in throughout your career. So, all right, and then the fifth one, and there's more steps. That's why, again, the approach. If you're feeling out of control with your finances, it's got to start and end with doing comprehensive financial planning with your CFP. But the fifth, if you've built out that budget, that 3 bank account system, you're paying down debt, you've got visibility on your net worth, you're saving up for the future, and you're planning proactively for your taxes. The final one is to paint the picture of the financial life that you're striving towards. And we call that a 5-factor retirement plan.
You know, we have a pattern in our financial planning practice where with clients, we're often reviewing either in the summer months or in the fall months, their retirement forecast. And I just had a really meaningful conversation with a client this past week who, you know, he said, my job has never been so stressful. And he also had paired that with, though, the excitement of new responsibilities and everything. You know, he's working a lot. It's hard work. But he wanted to know, am I on track for my goals? Like, is all this hard work, is this stress that's on my shoulders, is it paying off in some way? And we went to 2 places to answer that question. His personal balance sheet, showing him the progress that he's made in his financial life over these recent years, and then also the forecast then, looking out to the future. Are you on track for this goal? Mm-hmm. And we just went systematically, just one by one, through the assumptions that go into this plan. At what age are you going to be able to retire? Are you going to immediately retire at that age, or are you going to kind of step down into a semi-retired age? How much will you be spending when you get out there into the future? And we kind of scrutinize the budget and what's working today. Will he still be able to maintain that same lifestyle out in the future? We actually showed him that his lifestyle might even be a little bit better out in the future. We looked at things like, what are the sources of income going to be in retirement? And then what are you saving between here and there? And he had a very specific goal. I want to save X amount of dollars each year between here and there. Am I on track? Am I pulling it off? And then finally, we looked at the investment performance, the amount of risk that he's taken with those investments. Are we positioning ourselves to get the kind of compounding effect over time that allows him to build up resources to live off of someday? When we throw all that into the hopper, we stress test that game plan. And none of us know what kind of roller coaster ride the investment world is going to take us on. We don't know how his retirement assets are going to grow or shrink from year to year. We just know that it's going to be a choppy ride between here and there. And the question is, if we consider 1,000 different scenarios or 1,000 different roller coaster rides to get him to his retirement goal and then all the way through retirement, how many of the 1,000 forecasts were successful? And we're able to actually quantify for him what is the probability of success that if you keep doing what you're doing, if those 5 factors that you've made choices over and you're taking action over play out as intended, what are the chances that you're going to have the kind of financial future that you're envisioning? And it was such a high probability of success. And there was so much relief that comes from knowing, okay, it's all paying off. I'm doing the right things that are within my control. I need to keep doing those things. And that's really what a 5-factor retirement plan is all about. What are the things that you have control over, and then measuring your progress towards it. Are you on track or aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this is one of the very clear ways that you can get clarity and confidence in your financial life. And I think that's probably the prescription of feeling out of control financially, get that clarity and confidence, and hopefully some creative ways to achieve financial success. Here's my fear. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
My fear is that we just helped address a bunch of problems, but really just dealt with the symptoms. So my wife, Cindy, works in the dental field, and most people just say, well, then she's a hygienist, right? She cleans teeth. No, she doesn't. She is a dental assistant, helps the dentist work on the more fun things. And her, like, she did not want to be a hygienist. She fills cavities. She does teeth extraction, those sorts of things. The stuff that she does deals with the symptoms, not the root. If she fills a cavity, if you come in and say, and she does this at a pediatric office. So for kids, hey, yep, you've got 2 cavities. We need to fill those cavities. Did she fix the problem? She didn't. So these 5 things, I hope they've helped.
She fixed the presenting problem.
Right, but the real problem is you're not brushing your teeth. You have poor hygiene.
Dealing with the effect, not the cause.
Right. You brush your teeth and then you have dessert and go to bed or whatever it is. Or for kiddos, having a bottle of milk in the crib or something like that. And so that's why at the beginning we said, listen, we're going to share these 5 things that can help you gain control of your finances. But really it's going to start and end with having a comprehensive financial planning relationship with a CFP.
Lock arms with a CFP.
That's right, because they're going to help figure out, well, is this a communication problem? Is it a thinking problem? Is it a time resource problem? What is it? Let's do the strategies. Let's get all the clarity and everything, all these 5. Let's get that, but let's really get to the root as well so that you get on track and stay on track and feel on track with your finances. All right, that's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, all of us at KFG, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.